Okay, let's talk about Black Ops 6 Zombies and something to do with Cold War Zombies as well. And that's, does the game's progression feel worse or less natural than Black Ops 3's and like before that and everything else like that? And Black Ops 4's, I guess. So, okay, I'm going to say a few things. Point system. The point system is kind of a detriment in some Call of Duty games and sometimes like a blessing. For example, I think it's a blessing in Cold War. I think the point system is better in Cold War because it challenges you a bit more. It kind of, I suppose it's like a balance to being able to use custom weapons, like loadouts in Cold War instead of like, you know, the starting pistol, which, by the way, for the people that bitch and complain about it all the time, if you want a starting pistol, just set the starting pistol. It's not that hard. Oh, it feels different, it's stronger. And, brother, and who cares? Just use the pistol. It's that simple. Anyway, moving on from that. I feel like the point system kind of ruined some experiences. For example, I think after Buried released in Black Ops 2, it made the game way too easy for me. For my liking anyway, and Buried was an easy map to go with that as well. So all of the Victus maps had a banking system after Buried released. And well, maybe not straight after, I think there was an update to add them later. But for example, you could be set up by like round 1 on any of the Victus maps if you had done the time bomb glitch on Buried, which I'm sure nearly every single player did, because I abused the ever-living hell out of that to my own detriment. And, you know, that's another thing to say, is that a lot of the times when Call of Duty is too easy, there are options to make it harder. For example, in Black Ops 3, the Gobblegums make the game basically a joke. However, you have the options to just not use the Gobblegums. Just like in Black Ops Cold War, where you have the option to run the starting pistol if you please. But of course, it's a little bit stronger, but who cares? It's useless by round 5 anyway. You know what I mean? That's the thing with a lot of the guns in Cold War, is that your starting weapon is always useless. Like, by the time it would always be useless beforehand. Your pistol would be useless by like round 5. Okay, cool. So the same thing happens in Cold War. All of your weapons are bordering on useless in Cold War. You, however, have the option to upgrade those weapons. That's the difference, which I think the progression feels more natural in those games, where you can actually upgrade the weapons. So I like the weapon rarity system, where some people don't. And there's a tweet that says, oh, for example, where's the knuckle cracking animation? Why can't it make it feel like, you know, zombies? And that's something to do with Black Ops 6, where the animation is instant. You go to the machine, press the button, and you have the weapon, and you do that 3 times over. Same as Cold War, but the difference is Cold War had a UI that you'd have to interact with to upgrade your weapon, which everyone thought was stupid. I personally thought it was very stupid, but a lot of people think, oh, because the knuckle crack animation isn't there, the risk reward isn't there anymore anyway. Okay, let's break something down here quickly. Nobody pack-a-punched mid-round. Nobody did when the knuckle crack animation existed. I don't know anybody who would pack-a-punch mid-round except for like professional speedrunners. You know what I mean? Nobody was doing that. You were like elite at the game if you were doing that, okay? Simple as. Because nobody wanted to risk going to the pack-a-punch mid-game. So they'd always wait for the end of the round and they'd run to the pack-a-punch. And even then, it wasn't that risky, because on most maps you could pack-a-punch and get down to like safety within like 2 seconds. It wasn't even like a problem. Especially on maps like Kino der Toten, where you were quite literally safe whilst pack-a-punching at all times. Like, there was no point to have the knuckle crack animation in that map. So, personally, I think it's like a non-issue that they've removed the knuckle crack animation completely. It's not there anymore. It was never there in Cold War anyway. But they've completely removed any like UI element from the pack-a-punch. It's just instant now, which I personally like. I think it's better. A lot of people don't. Fair enough. People don't like the point system. In Cold War, for example, where you get the points after killing the zombies, not whilst damaging them, and you don't get points based on the amount of damage you've done. You just get a set amount of points based on if you've hit a headshot or a body shot, or depending on the weapon you've killed them with. For example, you get 80 points per kill with a wonder weapon, but you get 130 points for a headshot and 100 points for a kill with your regular weapon, which is normal. It's always been that way. But you could farm points originally, which I thought was a point of it being too easy in the past. So, for example, you could, on Origins, what I used to do to basically complete the Easter egg by like round 10, I would essentially get the Mauser, train zombies, shoot them in the legs constantly. One of them died, dropped to double points. Happy days. I'd have like fucking, 20,000 points by round, I'd say round 7. You know what I mean? I'd open the entire map. It was so easy. But, as well as that, Black Ops 2 kind of made the Easter egg a lot easier by having the Fire Staff glitch. But there is also a similar glitch in Black Ops 3, which isn't exactly the same, but it's similar. So, points to both, I guess. But yeah. There are points to say that the progression in Cold War, for example, is way better than the ones that came before it. I think so anyway. I think that's the case. I think the point system makes the game a bit more difficult, which is more of a challenge for me, which I prefer. I don't really like zombies being too easy, but at the same time, by the time you've got the wonder weapons in Cold War, getting to round 100, for example, is extraordinarily easy in comparison to Black Ops 3. Well, actually, that's a lie. Black Ops 3 is very easy as well. I'd argue it's actually easier than Cold War. But before that, before like Elemental, Pack-a-Punch, Camo, type, it was a lot more difficult, which is normal. But at the same time, you could also be completely set up with an infinite damage wonder weapon by like round 3, which is the difference. For example, on Moon, you could just stay in no man's land, and I know it's a little unrealistic and kind of hyperbolic, because, you'd have to start knifing eventually, and doing that is very difficult on Moon. But you could just stay in no man's land if you wanted and essentially have infinite points, and then just leave to Moon and then have like the ability to buy whatever you want. As well as that stuff like, I guess, Black Ops 3, you could use the Gobble Gums, use shopping free, you have the entire map open. If you're lucky, you have the Wonder Weapon, you have everything. And then you have Perkaholic, which gives you every perk and stuff like that. But say, for example, Kino der Toten as well, the original, not the Black Ops 3 remaster, or remake. Well, it is a remaster, I suppose. You could play on that map. You could get maybe 2,000 points by round 2 if you play your cards right. Open the door, the first door, have the box be in there, pull the Thunder Gun. You're set. That's it, you're set for the rest of the game. You don't need anything else. The Thunder Gun is an infinite damage weapon. You will never need anything else. Obviously you can just, go again, maybe get the ray gun, maybe get anything. It was a very easy thing to do. Maps like Shangri-La, of course, it was a bit more difficult. The box was a bit further away. Maybe you'd be set up by like round 5. Call of the Dead. I've been set up by round 3 on those maps before. It's Call of the Dead. It's not exactly as difficult as people make it out to be, considering the box is a door away 99% of the time when you're playing. So it's not exactly that difficult. But yeah, there are I don't know, man. It's weird. I think the progression is better on Cold War than it is on Black Ops, from Black Ops 3 and I guess below that in Black Ops 4, I suppose you could say, but the point system changed on Black Ops 4 as well. So, I don't know what to say. I feel like with Cold War, they took a significant step forwards and a good few steps back at the same time, especially with like map design post D-Machine, because D-Machine was incredible in my opinion. I love that map. I played it to death, and if I play a zombies map to death, I really like that map. I just don't like how they held your hand with the Easter eggs. That's one thing I don't like, but thankfully in Black Ops 6, we don't have that until 7 weeks. Well, okay, several weeks after a map releases is when you get the guided mode. So at first it's like left to the people to discover. But no. I don't know, it's interesting to me. I don't know, the map design for Cold War for me was bad. Post D-Machine in the DLC season, I really didn't like it. But thankfully for Black Ops 6, of course, they're taking cues from Black Ops 3, gameplay cues, map design cues. It's crazy to me. But yeah, anyway. That's kind of all I've got to say. There are some issues where I think that Cold War is a bunch of steps forward, a couple steps back, and Black Ops 6 is literally just all steps forward. It's like they took the steps back that they took in Black Ops 6, caught them up, and then took 300 steps forward. You know what I mean? And then took no steps back. It is incredible, like, the difference between how I feel about this game compared to Cold War, how I feel about Vanguard, and how I feel about Modern Warfare 3, which I'd still say Vanguard is the worst iteration of zombies ever, but I don't think Modern Warfare 3 is too far off. I really don't think it's that far. But anyway, I'm getting off track. I'm going to end the video here. Let me know in the comments if you think Cold War's progression is better or worse than it was before, from the games in comparison to the ones before that, or just say something interesting. I don't know. I haven't been doing this YouTube thing for a while. I don't even know what to say. Peace, and thank you so much for watching. I've been Jake Plays, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.